What's going on YouTube? So crossovers are king in the US, which is why brands try to make every possible size and configuration to appease any type of customer. Earlier this year, we reviewed the all-new GLA, and now it's time to take a look at its boxy brother, the GLB. So is this the perfect size Mercedes crossover for you? Let's go ahead and find out. So in case you didn't already know, the GLA and the GLB are closely related, but you wouldn't know that from the exterior designs because they are very different from each other. So with the GLB, Mercedes went with kind of a boxy look, which you'll see throughout the outside of the vehicle, which looks distinctly different from the GLA. So up in the front, we have a very upright Mercedes grille. Normally you'll have two bars for a little bit more of a rugged look, but this one here has the AMG line package. So that's going to give you this kind of diamond cut grille with just one bar in the middle. And it also revises the lower fascia to look a bit more aggressive. Now turning over here to your headlights. These of course are fully LED headlights with the newest Mercedes design. They are standard across every single version of the GLB. And then for an additional $900, you can add the exterior lighting package if you want adaptive abilities. Now squatting down here at your wheels, you notice we have a very eye-catching design. That's because we have the optional 20-inch AMG alloy wheels, which I think look very nice. Now the GLB does come standard with 18-inch alloys. You have 3 different options for 19-inch alloys and then 2 different options when it comes to the 20-inch alloys. And coming up here to your mirrors, you'll find one of our 2021 changes, and that's the fact that blind spot monitoring is now included as standard equipment across every single GLB. Now in addition to that, standard on every GLB is going to be heated mirrors, and then if you choose the premium package, that will add power folding and driver's side auto dimming. Now here at the side and back is where you're going to notice why this is called the GLB. B probably stands for boxy because you have that signature boxy design with this model that you're not going to get with the C or the GLA. So this is definitely a unique look. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it definitely is unique within the Mercedes lineup. Now breaking down the individual features you're going to get, you're going to have a lot of standard equipment. So these taillights, which are a really cool LED design, are standard on all of the models. They're full LED. And then dropping down, since we have that AMG line, we're going to have a really aggressive diffuser area. However, all of the models are going to have these dual chrome exhaust outlets. And I do want to point out for all the haters out there, these are fake exhaust outlets. The actual tip is down here in the bottom. Now, in addition to the standard blind spot monitoring this year, Mercedes is also going to throw in forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection. Now Mercedes is also going to offer a driver's assistance package, which will give you all the niceties that you're looking for, like an active lane keeping assist, evasive steering assist, active blind spot monitoring, and an advanced adaptive cruise control system. Well, that's going to be it for what we're going to take a look at on the outside for this Mercedes GLB. But now let's go ahead and hop on the inside and see all the luxury that Mercedes has put in there. And before we do all of that, hit that subscribe button down below because it really helps us out. So on the GLB, you will continue to find this key fob across all the models. However, the smart entry sensors on the door handle, that's included in the premium package. So get inside, just grab behind the handle and it will unlock. And taking a look inside of this cabin, of course, since this is one of the newest Mercedes models, it does have the latest interior design. Now in typical Mercedes fashion, of course, you are going to have a great number of different interior material and color options to choose between. So you start out with MB Tech synthetic leather in your choice of black, macchiato, or this Neva Gray and black combination, which I think looks really nice. Now you can also option on real leather as well, and that comes in black, Bahia brown, titanium gray or a special two-tone black and red combination. Now turning over here to your door trim, you will see it is nicely finished. We have a leather material that comes all across here. We even have leather that goes across the top as well. And then below that we have a panel of open pore wood. As far as your seat controls, these are 12-way power adjusting seats standard across the board, as well as having the 3-person memory. However, heating and ventilation are both optional. And then down below you have 4 fully automatic windows. This is your lumbar support. You also have a manual thigh extension as well. And then like I was saying, this is the MB Tech synthetic leather, but these are really lovely looking seats. Love the design and perforation as well as the contrast look, and they're nice and soft as well. So like I already mentioned, this does have the newest interior design language like many of the other recently unveiled models, and that comes with nice materials. So across our upper dashboard we have a soft touch plastic. Dropping down below that we have this genuine open pore wood, which feels really nice. We have some piano black trim, some faux aluminum trim, and then down below we also have some more piano black and faux aluminum. Everything in here of course fits together very nicely. Now to start every version of the GLB, just put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. Now right off the bat, you'll probably notice these 2 large displays which kind of come together to look like one big display. These are the optional 10.25-inch displays as part of the premium package. You can technically, on the standard model, get dual 7-inch displays, but I'm pretty sure every model produced usually always has the premium package and has this gauge cluster. Now, this does all the same tricks as the most expensive Mercedes model, so you can kind of swipe through each of these segments, customize it fully to whatever design you want. It also changes with the drive modes as well. Now coming back to the steering wheel, of course you have electric power assisted steering, and all models will come with a nice leather wrapped steering wheel. As far as the wheel adjustment itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and then heating is available as a $250 option. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put this storage to the test. Now we'll start out underneath the center console here. Definitely looks pretty large. And we have a newly enhanced stack of coupons here. It's getting thicker as time passes on, and we just added a bunch more expired ones. So now this is getting quite sizable. Let's see if the GLB is up to the task here. Looks like we kind of fold that in half and it is going to easily swallow it up. So it's definitely coupon approved. Now, up in front of that, you've got 2 cup holders. You also have another really large storage area here with a rubber lining, which is going to be great for sticking a cell phone. You'll find another USB port as well as a 12-volt outlet. Now, of course, you'll notice there is no shifter down here. In typical Mercedes fashion, they put it up here on the steering wheel, out of the way. This has the same operation as usual. You're just going to push down for drive. You'll also notice that we have paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. That's going to be across all the GLBs. Then you press up to activate reverse. So what we've got on the board with this one here is the standard backup camera. It does have active trajectory as well as parking sensors, and you can switch between 2 different views. However, if you want a 360-degree camera system, you can get that, but you're going to have to choose the driver's parking assistance package, excuse me. And then for park, just press the end of the stalk. There is an electronic parking brake that's located on the other side of the steering wheel. Now returning back over here to the dashboard, you'll notice you have a little stand to rest your arm in front of the MBUX touch controller. This has all the latest Mercedes technology, so you can use the controller, you can use the steering wheel, or you can touch the display, but we'll get into that in just a second. Now off to the right side, you'll notice the volume knob. Now Mercedes is not specific about what the bass sound system is equipped like. That's what we have, but we'll go ahead and take a sample of it anyways. Wow, so I have to say I'm actually very impressed by this bass sound system. Really nice thump to it and really fills up this cabin nicely. Now you can get a 590 watt 12 speaker Burmester surround sound system if you want the best sound system, but I think most people will actually be satisfied with this basic sound system. Okay, so let's continue up the dashboard here. It's going to bring us to our climate controls. So like the GLA we reviewed earlier in the year, you have a standard dual zone automatic setup with these really nice metal buttons here to make your adjustments, and that does show up in the main display as well. You have physical controls for pretty much all of the functions located right here. I will mention if you have these optional 64 color ambient lighting, which we do not, that would make the vents glow red when you make the temperature hotter and blue when you make it cooler. Alright, so now that brings us up here to the main part of the MBUX system. This is also a 10.25 inch display, as I already mentioned. And this does have all of the latest technology that we expect from Mercedes. Now this is a quite complex system, so I'm not going to talk about everything here. Just be aware that we do have a detailed tech help video if you want to learn more about the system. However, as far as the main features on board, you will have standard Android Auto and standard Apple CarPlay. We also have the optional navigation system, so that's what that looks like. With that option also comes the augmented reality navigation, so it's going to pop up the directions onto a live camera feed, and it's really helpful when navigating. Now moving on up, we have a frameless auto dimming mirror. However, HomeLink universal remotes, those will be an additional option. And then up at the very top, we'll notice a nice feature. There's a power panoramic sunroof. It's kind of a dual panel setup, but both of them do have power sunshades, and this large front portion does open up. Alright, so here I am in the GLB's rear seat, and I have to say, when you compare it to what this vehicle competes against, it definitely feels a lot more spacious back here, just the overall atmosphere, than the vast majority of the competition. And apparently that's not just a feeling, because the actual legroom figures are 38 inches of legroom and 39 inches of rear headroom, which actually places this larger than the Mercedes GLC and several inches larger than the Audi Q3 and some of the other main rivals. Now, as far as behind rear seating position, I have around 6 to 7 inches of rear legroom, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat, so definitely a lot of space back here. However, I will point out, I really kind of wish Mercedes would make these rear seats a little bit softer. It's pretty stiff, so that's just something to note here. Now, turning our attention towards the features here in the middle, we do have standard vents. That's on all of the GLBs. Down below that, we have a little storage cubby. And if we pop this out, you're going to see a 2021 change, and that's that this household style outlet is now standard on all of the GLB models. And then off to the right of that, we have 2 USB Type-C ports. I do also want to point out, if you fold down this armrest, you have 2 cup holders inside. There are no heated rear seats offered. And a unique thing about this GLB is that you can get a third row in this vehicle. Granted, it probably would be very small, but you can get a third row, and that is why these seats can slide forward and back as well as recline. Now, walking up to the tailgate, Mercedes is nice enough to include a power one standard on all of the GLBs, and if you go for the premium package, it is also hands-free, so just wave your foot under the bumper to open it up. And once inside of here, you're also going to find a really large amount of space, especially for this segment of vehicle. It's rated at 24 cubic feet behind the second row seats, and that expands all the way up to 56 cubic feet if you fold them. Like I mentioned, that is a lot larger than the main rivals, and it's really on par with what the Mercedes GLC has to offer, so a lot of space back here. Now, like I mentioned, you can also get a third row, and behind that third row, if you had that equipped, you would only have 5 cubic feet of space. Now, as far as the flooring, we have a really nice carpeting along the floor. If we lift it up, there's some storage. You could probably throw a little bit down here. It's not really made for storage, but you could throw something down there. Then off to the sides, we have storage cubbies, a 12-volt power outlet, a cargo cover, and the seats do fold 40-20-40 split. Now, for your passenger seat, you have these same adjustments as the driver, and you're also going to have 3-person memory, which is pretty odd for a vehicle in this price range. And opening up the glove box, we have a really large glove box.
Now, just like everything else in this vehicle, it is a square glove box. So it's just like a square with one corner off the side, and it definitely can fit in this fat stack of coupons. So even though you have a Mercedes, you can save money on food. And up top, we have a sun visor with a mirror, as well as an LED light, and you can also detach it. However, there is no extension, and it does not extend. Not bad.
Yeah. So this, of course, is the GLB 250. So this is the standard engine, which most people will be choosing. And it makes 221 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, which is probably about mid-pack in the class. There are some more powerful base options, but importantly, if you want something more powerful, that GLB 35 AMG is going to be offered. So that's going to be making substantially more power and give you kind of a sport option.
Yeah, and if you're curious about the 0 to 60 for this 250, it's going to come in at 6.9 seconds. So, although not super fast, I really, upon that first acceleration there, I don't think any of you guys are going to have any troubles with it. It's definitely adequate.
So if you're paying close attention to the tachometer, you'll notice how quickly it bangs off shifts. And that's because we have a dual clutch transmission on board. This is an 8-speed DCT. Like I said, it really shifts super fast. That's one of the benefits of having the DCT. A really great responsiveness.
Yeah, and this transmission is actually not shared with the A-Class or the CLA, and it probably should be, because this is a really good transmission. Just from the passenger seat, just seeing how fast it shifts, it's kind of odd for a vehicle in this segment. Now, just cruising down the road here, the GLB obviously isn't a performance vehicle in its 250 configuration, and you're mainly just going to be concerned about how this vehicle rides and how quiet it is. I have to say, this is a very nice vehicle when it comes to the ride quality and noise level. I'm really not noticing too much of a difference from the Mercedes GLC, which is certainly a good thing. This vehicle feels more substantial when you get behind the wheel than something like a GLA as well, so that's something worth noting, especially when it comes to your ride quality. And then as far as the noise level, we'll take a sample. We're going 50 miles an hour. And we're getting a reading of 58 decibels, which that's a pretty good reading. It's right in line with what I would expect this vehicle to have.
Yeah, now like Mason was saying, of course, this is not really designed to be sporty, but you will find it to be reasonably athletic when you're behind the wheel. Of course, like we were talking about, the fast shifting transmission and pretty swift acceleration. Also like the steering, as you can see, very nice and quick response. It's light in a pleasant way, but has reasonably good feel as well. I do also want to point out that we have the adaptive dampers on this model here as an option. And from what I remember driving it last year, this indeed does make the ride better. So it's very comfortable when cruising along.
Now, as far as the fuel economy for the GLB, the 250 front-wheel drive is going to come in at 23 city, 31 highway, 26 combined, and the 4MATIC all-wheel drive is actually going to have the same reading.
Now let's go ahead and get into today's slam dunk and airball. It's actually going to be the same thing for both of them. For the slam dunk, it's this cabin. How spacious it feels in here. They've really worked wonders to have a subcompact that feels so spacious. These huge windows, tons of headroom, leg room. I mean, it really feels like you're driving a much bigger SUV than you actually are. Now, on the airball side of things, we also said this cabin. That's not to say anything's wrong with this cabin, it's just that when you get to the price point that we're at with this model, and we'll talk about this in just a second, you can definitely get a GLC, which is going to have more luxury inside of the cabin. Well, let's go ahead and get the pricing.
So the GLB 250 front-wheel drive starts at $38,050, the 4MATIC $40,050, and that upcoming 35 AMG is going to be $49,500. Now, it wouldn't be a Mercedes review if we didn't have a lot of options on it, and this one has $14,000 worth. So we have $14,000 worth and then a $1,000 destination charge, bringing this one to $54,415.
But overall, I have to say there's really just a lot to like about this GLB. I think for a lot of you guys, this is really going to be the sweet spot of the Mercedes crossover lineup, because you're basically getting space that's very similar to the GLC, but you're getting a price point that's much more similar to the GLA, and it's being the entry point of the Mercedes crossover lineup. So I really think that this is going to be, honestly, the perfect Mercedes crossover for a lot of people.
Well guys, that's going to conclude this in-depth review of the 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250. We really appreciate you watching this video, and if you made it this far, I know that means you enjoyed watching, so be sure to pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free, and all it's going to do is give you notifications on all of our most recent content, so be sure to do that. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.